Never has anything this big moved this fast. Monster Jam World Finals 2. It's the landmark event with no equal. Now on home video. The fastest monster truck racing. The most destructive freestyle today in the all-out battle for the monster truck world champion crown. Plus driver interviews and more. Order online at ushra.com or call 888-659-RACE. Monster Jam World Finals 2. The home video. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. In Crash Madness 2, Maximum Destruction, the home video, featuring non-stop monster truck crashes that you can live again and again through in-truck camera angles, live calls,
and the horns are gone. Oh my. He's dehorned.
And unbelievable footage of the most destructive crashes ever. Order at ushra.com or call 888-659-RACE. Crash Madness 2, Maximum Destruction. Order now. You gotta get the gear. Go to motorsports.cc.com and get the official Monster Jam gear. The Gravedigger visor, diamond plate hat, hockey jersey, and more. Plus the brand new 2002 Monster Jam wall calendar. And get the latest merchandise from the ultimate motocross events on the planet. Log on to motorsports.cc.com and get your official fan merchandise now.
The Gravedigger, the most famous monster truck in the world. You know, monster trucks have been around for a long time, but only one truck name and only one driver have withstood the test of time. Is it because of that Gravedigger name? It could be. Is it because of the never say die attitude of the driver? Well, that's probably true too. Is it because of the unique body stylings, the panel truck, the paint schemes? That's all a part of it. But it's more than just that, because there is one fact without a doubt, that over the course of monster truck racing history, this truck has taken some of the wildest rides ever. You know, from back in the days when it was just a truck with the name Gravedigger painted on the side, to this unique machine that fans see today, the Gravedigger has always been pushed to the limits.
Whoa, baby! Whoa! Digger with a hole shot! Gravedigger pops a wheelie! And it's all Digger on this race!
In the beginning of my career, when I first started out, we started out mud bogging, and we started getting a lot of attention when the truck was really big, and I drove the truck wide open. You know, we started driving in mud pits, and everybody knew they were going to get a show. I was going to either rip something out of the truck or the truck was going through the hole. So whenever it's like, you know, we had 100 mud boggers there, and people would kind of wander off, and whenever Gravedigger got ready to run, everybody come running to the mud hole to watch me go, you know, and I knew they were coming to see me cut up, and it was just the, you know, the big truck and the loud noise is really what drew the attention, you know, as far as the people, you know, checking out the truck and really following us really close.
He did the, you know, the local mud bog, and we went to every one of his races. And it just excited us so much, you know, whenever he would win just those little local shows, you know.
Dennis Anderson realized that with the Power Tracks and the Super Tracks and the Tough Tracks television shows that debuted in the 1980s, he had a vehicle to now push the Gravedigger monster truck out to millions and millions of fans. and he took it seriously. Dennis raised the bar and took this monster truck to the limit, pushing it harder and harder. It seemed like sometimes Dennis was fixing the truck more than he was driving it.
Even get to qualify tonight after driving 800 miles is kind of disappointing that a little piece like this could stop my truck, but nevertheless it did. You know, I came back into the pit here, we had a steering problem, we started ripping the cylinders apart, that wasn't it. We came back to the pump and found it. And it's so far along now that it's too late for us to even try to qualify, so we're going to be out tonight.
TV exposure was always important to me as well as all the other monster truck guys too, because then it got people that had never been trackside or been out to an event, that if they were watching it on TV and they liked it, if they saw it on TV, when they came to a racetrack or the domes to see us, there's a different story when you're trackside. TV to me never done the jumps and all the big obstacles justice on TV, but if the people liked it on TV, they darn sure love it if they came to a live event. And plus it was, you know, popularity, you know, it's like if you were wild and crazy on TV, fans always followed you, you know, and they always root for you, and I seem to be an underdog for many years out there, and the fans always rooted for me. It's because of TV.
I guess the story that came behind the Gravedigger name was, you know, this old hillbilly that had a truck that, you know, thought he could go out there and run with the big boys, and all he ever did was break down. And then it becoming known, you know, he was pretty wild behind the wheel. You know, you start seeing more and more on TV.
We've got a couple of them here. This is Dennis Anderson, driver of the Gravedigger, an old panel truck.
Which we weren't running a whole lot of TV series back then, but, you know, you seen him on TV and he got pretty wild.
In the early days, every time we saw Dennis Anderson in the Gravedigger, it was an experience. And you know, his interviews were as wild and unpredictable as his driving style.
A lot of times we have to pack up from one show and travel 1,000 miles, and it's rough. I mean, it's not Disneyland out here, you can believe that.
If he was racing side by side or in a single qualifying run, Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger were going to put the hammer down every time and show everybody what they were made of.
Well, there was not so much sponsored competition. It was one-on-one, and the people who competed against you were actually, run what you brought. And when Dennis was there, it was run what you brought, and we always knew that when we raced Dennis, it was to the wood. It was always full throttle. You know, there was no trying to impress sponsors and this and that. It was just good old boys racing, and that's the way we ran.
About '84 is when I started driving the Stomper for TNT Motorsports, and ended up racing him quite a few times. Even here at the Louisville Motor Speedway, we had some pretty good duels on the figure 8 track, and then a lot of the state fairs.
That would have been in Roanoke, Virginia, at the Civic Center. I was in a final race with Dennis, and he was running like he always does. He always races hard, and he was having trouble at the end of the track because his truck was tripping the back end up pretty bad and getting him up on his nose, and he was having to use the whole floor. So I knew it was going to be a pretty wild race because I had all intentions of being ahead of him, and we got to the end of the track, and of course Dennis was up on his front tires, and really there's nothing else you can do when you're on your front tires but get in the throttle. So he had to drive himself out of a situation that he was in, and we got tangled up, got together, and tore up a lot of stuff, but that's part of racing.
Well, the first time I heard about Gravedigger, we went out to Virginia for a race, and there's a couple of unique things that happened at that race. That was the first race that Rod Litzow actually drove the race truck. So we were all excited about that. This guy in this black panel truck was there with the name Gravedigger on the side, and we looked at him as kind of a North Carolina guy come right out of the sticks type of thing, but turned out to be a formidable opponent in the finals, or I believe it was the semifinals. He dropped an oil pump, and we wound up beating him the first time we raced against him.
All right, so these guys, are in the semifinals. Local favorite, hero, Gravedigger. That is Dennis Anderson up against the rookie driver, Rod Litzow, in the USA 1 machine, waiting for the green to go off right now as the two are lined up side by side. First round of semifinal action.
Litzow trying to make a name for himself right out of the box, a little out of shape. Anderson takes advantage of it, Richardson. He's trying to lead him, and Litzow's in trouble. Anderson won't quit. He goes after him.
Dennis Anderson is going to get the win over Rod Litzow in the USA 1 machine.
Yeah, I think I just wasted my motor. I might have thrown a rod in it, and when I pulled up here, I noticed I lost oil pressure, so I'm out now.
Back in like '88 or '89, when we first started doing the Louisville Motor Speedway, racing the big figure 8, that was the longest track we had ever seen, not only in length, but I mean in time. It took us to get around there. Well, I think we was running turning times of 50 seconds up to 60 seconds. And it was a long track. Dennis, he had some wide, flat Firestone tires that would really hook up on that asphalt really hard. And he could go into turns faster than anybody else. And he would hit that figure eight. The cars were sitting in the middle, and he would hit it wide open. And to go there and to beat him and to win some of his fans over, it really made me feel proud, for the Carolina Crusher team.
Actually, anytime that I raced a digger truck, I think I usually ended up the winner with all just showing off truck. It was pretty consistent. I can remember one of them, Nashville, Tennessee, I believe, that I ended up the winner there that night. I think it was me and Dennis in the finals.
First time I ever heard of Gravedigger was probably in the mid-'80s. Somebody told me there was a madman running around with this big four-wheel drive truck that had big terror tires on it, and it was a panel van. You heard it from here and there and everywhere else around the industry, but I really wasn't into monster trucks that much. But by God, we turned on television one day, and there's this wild man called Gravedigger. And back then it was, Army Armstrong was kind of helping them out and doing all the commentating for all the monster shows at that time. And there was Dennis, he was known for one or two runs and he was broke. But man, those couple of runs that he put down was really crazy.
Well, I can remember exactly where I was when I met Dennis Anderson. And the first time I ever saw the Gravedigger, it wasn't a 1950 body style truck. It was an early model Ford, like a 48 or 49 Ford sedan delivery. We were at Raleigh, North Carolina, and this fella asked me about monster truck. He said, "Sir, I got a monster truck. I'd be interested in racing." And he said, "I've done a lot of mud racing and everything, but I want to get over on the monster truck side of it." He did run that day, and as a matter of fact, one of the runs he made was one of the most fanatic. People were just going crazy. Anderson goes out, makes a run, clips a telephone pole on his very first run, and from that moment on, the Gravedigger was writing his name on the wall, man, because everybody knew who he was.
It was for the fans. It was I just kind of pictured myself, if I was sitting in the stands, this is what I'd want to see. I'd want to see some wild man come out, go crazy, rip the floor up, jump this truck, and just, drive it on the ragged edge or the limits of no return. And I just kind of laid down what I wanted the fans, what I pictured the fans should get or the fans would like to see. And it really kind of worked. It started a crazy driving style, and it was a hard reputation to live up to, but hey, I said it and I made the bed. I had to lay in it, and people loved it.
You were beat, you knew you were beat, but why did you go back and finish that run? I do it for the crowd. They're here to see me launch that truck and drive it hard, and I knew I was going to be out and have to park it, so I'm going to give them something for the show.
Dennis came to me one day and he said, "Look, man, I'm making more money selling t-shirts than I am running a monster truck." He said, "I keep breaking a monster truck." He said, "We got to figure something out." And I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. Put a light behind those red lights on the front of the truck. When you come in the arena and get ready to make a run, when you hit that switch and I see two red lights come on, I know that truck has got one good run in it, and that's it. And after that run, those folks can go up to the grandstand, at the top of the grandstand, to the t-shirt place, and meet Dennis Anderson, the driver of the Gravedigger. Because when I see the red lights come on, I know you got one bonsai run, then it's time to sell t-shirts."
We basically had one shirt, one hat to start with. Now, Gravedigger was back then and is still now the hottest monster truck on the circuit, or for that matter, in the world. We've come just full circle with the merchandise, from 2 shirts to, 75 items with, light up lights, die-cast toys, models. It's just turned into a merchandising phenomena. So there is definitely a huge fan base out there for Gravedigger, and bottom line is they love his merchandise.
Team Gravedigger had become one of the most competitive trucks in the world.
My truck has really gotten popular in the last couple of years because of my wild driving style. It's an old, unique truck. It's a different truck. And I'm an underdog coming up from the bottom, coming to the top quick.
Well, we took Dennis serious, not so much that he had all the money like the Bigfoot guys, because everybody else, the Gary Porters, the John Moores, all those, we were kind of doing it out of our own pocket. And Dennis would come there with just things welded together, going from show to show, breaking, rolling over, smashed up. And we knew that when he got there, even if he was handicapped, even if he was just a little limping, that he would give somebody a run. And we respected him for that. In Minnesota, and this was in the middle of winter, my brother Steve Dane was racing King Kong against Dennis Anderson and his Gravedigger. And TNT Motorsports was putting on the event.
Here they go, gentlemen. King Kong 3 going against the Gravedigger. They got
We got the line, and I thought we were going to do good. I really did. And Dennis beat us by about a half of a tire.
And when I did successfully beat them, and it was a fair and square run, and they had their big engine builder there and all that, I was totally stoked. That was a big highlight in my career.
All right, I did it.
Beating Bigfoot fair and square on TV in St. Paul, Minnesota, the same one where I beat the Kong brothers. It was, and it came down to me, him and I in the finals with Bigfoot, and it was Rich Hoosier driving.
Anything goes. The here comes Bigfoot around. Look at Greg here. Look at Bigfoot. Look at him go. Look at him go. No.
It was great to beat that whole team with their team leader there, being Bob Chandler, and me being the old country boy with this pile of junk that I always considered myself having.
Dennis Anderson, congratulations. Gotta be, is it the biggest moment of your monster truck career?
Yeah, it is. I finally beat Bigfoot, the Kong brothers, the whole 9 yards.
Now a newer truck and more television exposure were making the Gravedigger even more popular. Dennis felt the need to expand the operation. With more events and more demands, it was time.
It was a big demand for us, and I actually didn't want to do it because I always just wanted to be Dennis Anderson in his Gravedigger truck. But it was a big demand for it, and there was several other promoters that put on shows at fairgrounds, domes, and coliseums, and we needed more than one truck for all of our fans out there. And so, number one, I guess it was for the promoters, but then getting it out for all the fans, because just running one truck, I couldn't do with so many venues a year. So I figured if I put, 3 trucks out there, we're going to get 3 times the exposure. The people would get to see the truck, and I could rotate my drivers, and I'd finally come through their, through their states or their towns myself and put on a show.
He became the demand for every promoter to get their hands on him and bring him out in these different locations. I got involved, and he kind of brought me into the building, and I was kind of like a sideline team guy, kind of helping him out. And one thing led to another after the show. He just popped off with a question I wasn't really prepared for, and it's like, hey man, why don't you go back to North Carolina with me and go to work for me? And I was like, well, geez. And he said, nah, you got to go with me now or never, So I talked it over with my wife. I left the next day at 10 o'clock in the morning. Didn't see home for 7 more months, and that's how I got involved with Dennis Anderson.
In 1993 is when I started campaigning. It was one of the Gravedigger trucks for Dennis, and at that time, it was actually just for a 10-week deal, and here 9 years later, I'm still running a truck for him.
What I expected out of the drivers for the multiple teams when we started running, they had to be hard drivers, meaning that they had to go out, and if somebody jumped 10 foot in the air, we had to jump 15 foot in the air. And I didn't never, ever want a Gravedigger truck booed, and they knew that, because if they ever heard that we got a Gravedigger truck booed from the fans because it came out for a poor performance, I'd rather for them to go out and just sky the truck out and break the truck than come out and tiptoe around and just get themselves beat right in the ground.
Whoa! Whoa!
So they had a good set of shoes to fill there, and it just took them a while to get used to, griping at them about go, 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 drive the truck. But then if they go driving the truck too much and tear it up, there's a limit that you try to stay in. I always tore up the most. So I didn't want them to tear up no more stuff than I tore up, but you could almost tear up as much stuff as I did. But it was a pretty hectic job for them, because not only did these guys come out of a no-name monster truck, and I'm not taking anything from any trucks out there, but these guys went from getting, 35 people cheering for them to, 25 or 30,000 people cheering for them. So it was a lot of pressure, just an intro, standing on the tire of that Gravedigger truck for these drivers to hear the cheer and the fans after the show. So not only was I putting a little pressure on them, the fans put the pressure on them too. But it's a good pressure. It's a pressure to make everybody go.
Lyle, what in the world were you doing, man? Hey, I came here to put a show on for Dennis Anderson and all the people that stand behind Gravedigger, and we ain't never gonna let you down. Yeah!
He had a reputation to uphold, and for the longest time that I worked for him, I didn't try to be Lyle Hancock. I tried to be Dennis Anderson in a lot of ways. The way I perceived the people, how I dealt with the children. Short of anything but a win in a Gravedigger for Dennis has always been a statement that it's nothing but last round loser. There's no glory in second place. And as time's gone on, I've learned to value that very much.
The exposure Team Gravedigger was getting from the expanded truck roster and even more televised events kept the team going into the mid-90s. Dennis Anderson and all of Team Gravedigger were racing against all of the top drivers in the world.
We was in Minneapolis there, straight line race. And as you know, with the straight lines, the horsepower is it. You know, the guy's got to get off the line and get going. Whoever can get the jump off the line pretty well got the race. And you know, we pull up the line, you know, you play the little mind games with each other, you know, and I always done that. Dennis always done it, you know. We'd always do it to each other, you know, because you gotta do that to just get the edge. You know, we're trying to play the light, and I budged it and knew that it moves.
They leave the line. An incredible race.
I thought I caught the light just right, you know, pulled it away and thought I had the win, you know, and sitting there at the end, you know, we had to watch the video. They was playing it over and over, trying to figure out what happened, and they called a red light on me. I probably should have sat up there before the line and just took a couple minutes to myself and mellowed out a little bit. You know, I was a little anxious getting in the line. I knew we was going to have to play the light real good. Dennis is running good times, you know, so it was going to be a real close race, and especially in this short of a course, they don't give you much, and the light's the big thing, and we just blew it.
In West Leb, I was driving the 91 truck, and it was me and Dennis in the semifinals. And, you know, we was both pumped up, and Dennis got me out of the hole. He jumped over the first set a little far. I took it a little easier. In no man's land, Dennis got a little squirrely, and I went by him a little bit, coming over a second set of cars. Dennis kind of out of control right there, as he does most often. Come over, finish. I ended up winning. Dennis slid sideways, ran up, almost ran into the barriers up top. West Leb was a very fast track. Yeah, and then after the race, was thinking maybe they'd come over and interview us. It come to be that they interviewed Dennis instead in front of our truck, and you can see us kind of working in the background, get ready to go for the next run.
Racing against the Gravedigger team and Dennis Anderson. And one of the most memorable times was we were in our home state again. It was Tampa, Florida. At that time, it was the Houlihan Stadium. My God, I had him, I think, second round, and it was a photo finish. We got some ballistic air. He come out the victor on it. Of course, you know, there was a fan favorite at that time.
One of the biggest memories I've got is it was back when we was running one of the points races there. You know, it came down to me and him in the finals, and he had lane choice and stuck me in a bad lane, and I had to do everything I could do to win because I got put in a bad lane, and fortunately I came out on top that time, and I won the whole race, so that was kind of very memorable.
You know, you talk about wild rides with Dennis Anderson. You know, I've seen him save it in the Houston Astrodome. I saw him save it in Pontiac. One place he wasn't able to save it, it's right here at Lebanon Valley, turn number 1. Dennis is racing Bob Fisher. They go into the turn. We're riding with Dennis. We have a camera right in the truck, and the truck just sort of rolls over, goes on the side. You see Dennis, you see the dirt coming up.
Yeah, we turned her over. She's over. That's what the people want. That's what they got. I got a tore-up truck.
Coming for home in the finals against the Kodiak truck, Dennis got it in his mind that he was behind and that wasn't going to happen. It was hammer down time. The final run to the finish line, he goes flying over the cars, pulls out a close victory, but then it's time to stop the truck. Not enough room. He gets on the binder, slides it sideways, and slams into the concrete wall at Louisville Speedway. In the mid-1990s, another show element was added. Freestyle was the extra step that would take the big boys and make them men real fast. Dennis Anderson took to freestyle like it was second nature. For Dennis Anderson, it was always about pleasing the fans. Sometimes it seemed like he would prefer freestyling to actually racing the Gravedigger truck. Freestyle was the time when Dennis Anderson could cut loose and show what the mighty Gravedigger could really do.
Dennis, there's one opportunity for you to come back tonight. You know what that is, buddy? That's freestyle. We're going to go out there and tighten up our nuts and bolts. I'm going to cut that old panel truck loose out here.
My style came from watching other trucks. And, you know, it's like, even a long time ago when we were doing exhibition car crushing, it was like that was back in the day when the tallest, shiniest truck with the most KC lights won. They'd run over the cars from hood to trunk and break the windshields, and they're like, yeah. Well, I started hitting them sideways, and you really get some air off of them. I called it iron walling the cars. Well, then after everybody started copying and doing that, you'd see monster trucks drive around the arena floor, back up and jack around and try to get in line, get perfectly in line with the cars. Well, that's really boring. It's like, come on, guys, get moving. I'm sitting in my truck, you know, all strapped in like, go, 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 go. And it would really kind of irritate me. So then I'd go out there, I was like, this is how you do it.
It's Digger time!
So I'd just keep a steady, I never backed up in my truck. When I went driving out that door, if I backed up, it was because I slid up into the corner and got myself hemmed up. I always kept a forward momentum going on, and I didn't hit the same obstacle twice. If it felt really good, not unless I was going to come back and try to jump bigger the next time. And my style was, as I always kept in my mind, is like, okay, you got to bore them before you can thrill them. So you start off easy, kind of trotting, and then at the end of the deal, you're just running as hard as you can go, and you're just falling on the floor or whatever it took, you know. And it really worked out good. There's a lot of people out there that follow my freestyle that I started a long time ago now.
As Dennis Anderson and Team Gravedigger moved out of the 1990s, a new outlook came along, as well as a new TV racing series. Dennis captured his first world championship on TNN Motor Madness.
Dennis Anderson, you know he's got the championship, but he really wants to win here in St. Louis. You can see that in his eyes. He talked about the problems that he's having with his back. We certainly hope that he's feeling okay, because it really does shake you around a little bit, especially on this course. You see the checkered flag on the back? He's got that for winning the race a week ago, but the flag used to belong to that man, Bulldozer. And Tom Mintz, and Bulldozer gets a lot of air, as he usually does, around that turn here. It's Gravedigger.
They're even. They're dead even.
They are dead even. We will see how they negotiate this final turn. Digger does it very, very smooth, but so does Tom Mintz. He's got some horsepower. Let's see.
Oh, my.
That's too close to ball. That is all. Oh, my.
We're going to get it on the axle, Mike. I got to tell you, this is now the rivalry in monster truck racing. The superstar for years, the icon of the sport, Dennis Anderson. He kind of got himself slapped around a little bit here a few weeks ago on Motor Madness when Tom Mintz came in and dominated. It's meant a lot to Anderson to come back and beat him. And I'll tell you, he goes all out against this guy. What a race.
And we hear Dennis Anderson has been declared the winner.
That was the most incredible race I think we've seen all season.
I know it. It was in the second round. I couldn't believe it being Tom.
He knows he's got to go full out to beat Gravedigger.
And let's remember that Dennis Anderson has had a little problem with his back as he points that nose down over that first jump. He said, you know, that's a problem. It almost knocks the wind out of him. So we'll see what happens and how it affects him as now they come around and take this final turn. Digger. Oh, my! Gravedigger!
What a piece of driving. What an incredible save that was, Mike.
Crusher's gonna win.
I thought it was great that I captured this championship, but Dennis, like, once I captured it, it was cool, but I wasn't used to winning them, so it wasn't really a great big thrill to me, because I've known like Bigfoot and USA One, when they were on their winning streak, they won these championships back to back and barefoot. The people got sick of them. They were always cheering for that underdog, and it was cool because I haven't consistently won a championship since then. But it's like, you'll think about it, if you really win every time consistently, nice, smooth, clean racing, whatever, the fans, they need that underdog guy that's on the ragged edge. This dude will really get him if he just doesn't tear up or wreck. And I think there's a bigger crowd following for them, a fan following for that. So I like the category I run in, being wild and crazy, and maybe I will and maybe I won't.
We pulled the championship off. I didn't win here, but I didn't have to win here. I already had it wrapped up once I won that first round, and we knew we were in there. And this isn't all we get. We get some money back there somewhere, too, I guarantee that.
Over the years, Team Gravediggers had their share of rivalries, including Team Bigfoot, USA One, Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher, and, of course, Fred Schaefer and Barefoot.
And moving into the year 2000, the biggest rivalry in monster truck racing history was developing. Dennis had a new truck and a new driving style. But now there was someone out there who wanted to knock him off the top of the mountain, who wanted to take the limelight away from Team Gravedigger.
And Bulldozer living up to the top.
Grave who? Gravedigger? Who's that? I'm trying to figure out what I want to put on that flag.
Well, we're going to see right now what that 50 Chevy panel wagon can do against Bulldozer. Love the look of both of these trucks, and I think we got a good one.
You know, Dennis is trying to stay as the king of the mountain, and here comes the kid who's going to try and knock him off the top, Tom Mintz. What a great showdown this sets up to be, and make no mistake about it, Tom Mintz is brimming with confidence. He believes he's going to win this race. There's never been a driver more confident, though, than Dennis Anderson. Both these guys expect to win this race, but only one's going to the finals. Todd Frolick's got to love it barefoot. Let him go after each other. You know, he's going to sit back and wait.
We're in the final run here of the semifinals.
Wide turn by Dennis, that hurts him.
What a great turn by Tom Mintz, and Bulldozer living up to the top. He's done it. Oh, the crowd is stunned here as Bulldozer and Tom Mintz. Look at the excitement.
I knew that dude right there was going to be trouble. He ran hard, and he freestyled the truck good.
He's going to have a lot to deal with, you know. This thing's running good, and we're having fun. That's the best part about it.
And I could tell back then he would watch me freestyle, and I've been to a few shows with him where nobody else copied my style. Tom started copying some of my style. He always kept rolling for one thing, then cross-threading the cars and going all, you know, crossways of the track where the other guys wouldn't do it. Anything that I would do, Tom would do it. If Tom could do it better and got a chance to do it higher, faster, or harder, he would do it. So I had him on my tail all the time. He's a tough competitor out there.
You know, he's been the man for so long. He really has. And he knows that I want to be the man. And he doesn't want to pass that torch over yet. He's not ready. He still has that fire burning in him. I think another thing is we're a lot alike, you know. We both honestly came from nothing to become, you know, pretty big stars in this sport. And, you know, we both have a lot in common, too. I mean, I really do admire the guy. But at the same time, you know, I want to be the better guy. So, I mean, that's what keeps the fire going in the rivalry.
Well, there he is. Goldberg's here tonight. And listen to this crowd going nuts.
I'm an avid car collector. Just bought me a dragster last week. Got a lot of bikes. But I was missing one thing in my collection. So, tonight, here it is.
There it is. The Goldberg monster truck.
I hate Goldberg. I don't like the truck. I like Tom, and I've always liked Tom and probably always will. I don't like that truck. It's an ugly looking whatever, and I don't like bringing the wrestling in with us. You know what I mean? It's like this guy, he's already got his fans following him. You know, if you're gonna come in here and you're gonna earn it in the dirt, you're gonna have to come in here yourself. Don't come walking in with a shiny cape on, your shiny gold teeth or whatever, and spitting with this attitude at everybody. And the fans do follow it, and that's what irks me. You know, it's like, you know, that's wrestling is wrestling, monster trucking is monster trucking. So if you're gonna earn it, you're gonna earn it in the dirt.
With a hot young gun now on Team Gravedigger's trail, it seemed like every time these two trucks met, it was an event. It was hammer down time every time.
Got a positive attitude. I'm gonna kick Goldberg out the door this year, do or die.
Even to the first turn. Oh, Dennis Anderson! Yo, my! He almost loses it.
Hopefully it'll be me and Goldberg in the finals.
Don't tell me this is a cut qualifier.
You know, he's a tough competitor. Great to see him out here. It's going to be a good fight to the finish.
Going to be a Gravedigger Goldberg final, Mike.
Did you see Gravedigger never lifted off that throttle? Stayed in the gas the whole way.
It was a match made in U.S. hot rod history. Every time these two lined up against each other, it was an unbelievable sight. And to top it off, each team won what it did best at the 2000 Monster Jam World Finals in Las Vegas. Dennis Anderson and Team Gravedigger walked away as the world freestyle champion. Dennis Anderson went into the biggest event he had ever been in, ready to rise to the top, ready to win.
Oh, look at him take that pyramid out.
Did he save it? No!
The first World Finals in Las Vegas, Tom Mintz and Goldberg, he was going to be the toughest competitor there. for not just me, for everybody that was out there, and everybody knew that. He'd been running hard all year long, really clean. His truck worked really well in turning courses, and that was a turning course for the World Finals in Las Vegas. But he was going to be a tough one to beat for the World Finals, and as far as freestyle went too.
Goldberg wins the World Finals. Let's see the judges, 10s all around. Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger. Oh,
you can add
40.
that
I've added that. It's perfect. A perfect 40.
Heading into the new year, the Gravedigger team has come full circle. They have built the best monster truck ever in the Gravedigger camp, number 14. The team has taken over 20 years of experience and expertise, pulled out all the stops, and put together the best Gravedigger we've ever seen.
Over the last 20 years, some of the things that I've learned, and I've applied them to Digger 14, they all haven't worked, you know, because we back up and we look at some of the other things, and what we've done is the way that we would apply things that we do to another truck is none of my trucks were built the same. All the chassis were different. We never duplicated a truck nut and bolt for bolt, you know, it didn't work. And we always wanted to try something different. And so we took a mix of two trucks that worked the best out of the fleet, incorporated them in the 14.
The cradle is, if you look back at a number 12, the cradle in it for the 4-link bars where they hook up, it's about 6 inches deeper, meaning longer. The motor sets down lower and farther ahead in number 12. And what we done is we kind of took number 7 as a crazy freestyle truck, and number 12 is a real cool race truck. So we kind of wanted to get a happy medium going on there. You know, I had bad luck with number 7, man. It was just, I couldn't race it, but it would freestyle good. And so hopefully we've hit it right down the middle.
But no matter what number Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson, or one of the other Team Gravedigger drivers was behind the wheel of, you knew the truck was always pushed to maximum capacity. So what's next for Dennis Anderson and Team Gravedigger? New trucks? More than likely. More new fans? Well, you could bet on that. Up-and-coming drivers? We'll tell you it's already in the works.
What I'd like to see is I want to run my truck for another 4 or 5 years. I want to step out of the seat, hats off to the fans, and I want my oldest son to take my place in the Gravedigger, and I want my youngest boy will be old enough then to step up and take his brother's place in his brother's truck. Adam's truck is going to be called Son of a Digger, and he just doesn't want me to open the door and let him jump in my truck and go, here you go, son, have at it. He wants to do his own thing. He's got his own name. He wants to build his own name as far as a person, a driver in the truck, and I'm the one that's kind of making him, you know, stick close to Dad, because I want a second-generation monster truck driver, and he'll be the first ever to succeed, and then I'll have him and his brother take over the whole operation, and that way I can be a trackside coach. I'll just be a old thorn in their side for them, probably.
I didn't think much of it at first, but now I really want to. I mean, there's a lot of other things that I can do, but I mean, I like driving the best. I mean, I just love to drive anything. I love to jump, but I don't like drag racing and all that. I don't like to just go fast in a straight line. I like to jump because I have my 4-wheeler, and I'll be racing that coming up soon too. And I mean, we do all kinds of crazy stuff with that. We have so much fun. We have hundreds of acres we ride on. My favorite truck out of all the Gravedigger trucks is number 12. It's the best racing truck he's ever built. It's real long. I want to make a truck just like that, but lighter and faster.
One thing is definitely for sure. We'll keep an eye on Gravedigger and give you an update as time goes on. And hopefully, in another 20 years, we'll be back again. But in the meantime, look for Dennis Anderson and Team Gravedigger coming to a town near you. And when they do, don't you dare miss them. It will be a show you will never forget. We guarantee you.
You know, I say they needed a new hero at the time, and Dennis was it, and he just had everything right when he come out with it, and it worked well for him, and it's done a good job for him.
I think Dennis has lasted this long in the sport because his back can't do anything else. He can't work a regular job anymore. When he's 60 years old, we'll be racing in wheelchairs.
20 years. The Anderson reputation will never die. A legend goes on forever and ever. He's accomplished, I would say, pretty much what no other monster truck in the history has done. One thing he's never gave up on, ever, was devotion to his fans. Evidence of that was the World Finals. He didn't do so great with the freestyle, but he held his finger up to everybody in America and says, I have one more truck. And it still chokes me up to talk about it because he took his creation, did what no other driver would have done. He gave everything he had to everybody in America.
I never in my wildest dream ever thought that Dennis would have so many fans. I just had no idea that this monster truck thing would go so far.
Sometimes you just have to slow down and look, and when I say slow down and look, it's when nobody's around, and I come walking in my shop and I look at this fleet of monster trucks that we've got, and look at this cool engine room with all these engine parts and blower motors, and where we started from actually out of a chicken house to where it is today. It's unreal. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it because it was never a goal in life that I set. You know, I was just playing hot rod, redneck, four-wheel drive, and it just happened. And it happened all because of being exposed to big crowds of people in domes and coliseums, you know, and it's just this big vicious sickness that I got after that you can't stop. You know, you can't stop. It's like you may complain about the money and breaking parts, but still deep down in your heart, it's like you know you're gonna go. You know that you're gonna go. You're gonna go out there regardless. You know that you're gonna maybe hurt yourself. You're gonna break yourself financially. But those people, when you left, are gonna be talking about that dude. So I tell you what, he may not have kicked their butt, but he sure did tear his mess up trying. And that's how I'd rather get beat. I'd rather get beat by me tearing my truck all to pieces trying than me just laying over the steering wheel going, I can't do it.
Rest in peace.
Give up the ghost and head west. Grave diggers putting heads to rest. Don't run, you're caught in a trap. Are you ready for a dirt nap? No weekend when you're sleeping, cause he's creeping. Straight up, grim reaping. Shut your eyes and face the fact. It's time to meet the man in black.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You're going 6 feet under.